Hey y'all, let's talk about student loans in bankruptcy. So what does everyone know about student loans in bankruptcy? That they're not dischargeable, right? Generally speaking, that's going to be the case. But it might be getting easier, and I'm going to tell you why. So bankruptcy discharge is going to exclude student loans for most people. There's like 0.1% of applicants that get their student loans discharged, and that's because they basically showed that there is absolutely no way they can pay. Who gets to decide if you can make payments on your student loans? Well, that's going to be your bankruptcy judge. So right now, they basically have pure discretion as to whether or not your student loans are going to be dischargeable in bankruptcy. But the Biden administration last week just published new guidelines for bankruptcy courts to use about whether or not a student loan can be dischargeable in bankruptcy. So these new guidelines that came out basically simplify the process. They make it more transparent and more consistent. So you're going to see the same factors that the judges are going to review to see if your student loans are dischargeable. Now, what are those factors? That's what we got to look into. So first, we're looking at the present ability to pay. Can you make payments based on what your income and your expenses are at the current time? If the answer is no, let's move on to step two. Step two is going to be future ability to pay. So they're going to look at a lot of things. If you are completely and permanently disabled, then that would show that your future income is not likely to change. They're going to look at your age and how close you are to retirement. They will look at whether you got a degree as part of your student loans. They're going to basically look at all of these factors. They're even going to look at your past employment history. If you have shown an extended unemployment history, then that's going to basically show that in the future you're not likely to be employed. So future employment and future ability to pay is something that is set out in these guidelines that help simplify the process. Now the last thing, it's what I like to call a little squishier. It is called good faith efforts. So have you made a good faith effort to make payments on your student loans? Now, if you've never had the ability to pay for one reason or the other, good faith effort can also just include contacting your student loan servicer and asking about your options to defer or reduce your payments. So what constitutes a good faith effort is still up in the air, but there are going to be more specific guidelines that are published. So the good news is this is going to make student loan dischargeability in bankruptcy a little bit more available if you meet these three factors. But there will be a better way to assess if it's a possibility in specific circumstances that you bring to your attorney. So we have linked a blog below that kind of lays out these three factors in more detail. And if you do have any questions about the possibility of student loan discharge in bankruptcy, call an attorney. They will be able to talk you through these new regulations that have been published and let you know if this is an option.